And boom, 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 we were live. And for some of you out there, very special people from the Caribbean, kaboom. It's kaboom for you today. Welcome to LinkedUp on LinkedIn live. Peter Clarke, Red TV. And I got my Caribbean shirt on today, boy, because I am super excited to talk to anytime I can go anywhere near the equator. I'm pretty pumped. You know, being in Canada and all, it's a little chilly up here at Christmas time, or anytime. So we're going to the Caribbean, and that wonderful young lady over there is going to talk all about entrepreneurialism. We're going to talk about the Caribbean and business and all kinds of cool things. And you add in a little Branson branding in there and all that kind of stuff. You have a really good show. Okay, so please welcome everybody. Look, Lauri-Ann Ainsworth, how are you?
Hi, Peter. Thanks for having me on.
Super to have you. Super to have you. I mean, I'm jealous already. I'm so glad you don't have a window, because I'd be looking out and go, oh, that's where she works.
You see, I'm looking at it and I'm seeing the water and I'm seeing the trees. So, one day I'll share it with you.
Stop it. Yeah, I know where you're. So, and I actually don't know the city, or are you in Montego Bay? Which side of the island are you on?
No, we're in Kingston. We are in the city. So I'm coming to you from Kingston.
Beautiful. See, I didn't even know that. Just so everyone knows, listen, we know we connect each other on LinkedIn and stuff, but we just met a couple minutes ago. So that's why I love this, because I don't know where it's going. It's always really cool. So let's we're going to talk about a lot of cool things. About business and entrepreneurialism and Caribbean and all kinds of stuff. Let's start with the simple one right now. You and your family, everyone good during 2020?
Yes. Yeah, thank God. And, thank you for asking that. As you can see my kids behind me. So I have 2 kids, and, I think the whole world has just gone through this madness with this pandemic, but thank God everybody's fine. We're all doing well. Losing our minds a bit, us parents who are homeschooling or have the kids online, but we're doing okay.
Yeah, it's filled up a totally different day for you, I'm sure, right? And so they're young enough that they're in school, but they can't be on their own, kind of thing. Yeah.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
That fills up a lot of time. Okay. Well, I appreciate that. And it's good to hear that everyone is safe and sound. Super important. Hey, listen, I think this is fun to talk about, as there's a Canadian connection here.
Yes, there is.
I'm dialing in from Canada, so I'm pretty pumped to say I did not know this until I started reading some of the fine details, and you went to the University of Toronto. So tell us the Canadian connection for people watching.
Yeah. Okay. So I actually spent 5 years in Toronto, or Toronto, as I've been told. I remember I was talking to someone and they're like, we know everybody who doesn't come from Toronto because they say Toronto. So I'm now saying Toronto.
Perfect. You fit right in.
So yes, 5 years there. Went to U of T. It was a great experience.
What did you study up there? I'm just curious.
Okay, so I studied languages actually at U of T. Yeah, yeah.
So linguistics in the sense of speaking them, or just the history?
So I studied English literature, and I studied Spanish. So I did a double major in, and it was like, how do you go to Canada and study Spanish? I know, I'm crazy. You go to Canada, you study French, but I did Spanish and literature there. So I love the languages.
Oh, see, I love that. I love the fact there's a Canadian connection. So when I'm referring to it's cool up here, what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we have so many Canadians, obviously, that vacation in the Caribbean in general. Of course, Jamaica is very, very popular. I think it's almost one of the most popular for Canadians. Is Jamaica? I think Barbados is up there as well, but certainly Jamaica has a
connection.
Yeah, there's a strong connection there, and so on. Let's jump into the Branson Center of Entrepreneurship, and let's just talk about for those who don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people on LinkedIn. Obviously, there's 750 million people apparently on LinkedIn. So there's probably a couple that don't know who we are. So let's pretend that we're talking to someone like that. Tell us a little bit about the Branson Center of Entrepreneurship. You know, what you guys are trying to do, basically the mission and
Yeah.
and the future maybe of entrepreneurs in the Caribbean there.
Sure, yeah, and thanks for asking. Great question. So, to everyone who doesn't know, so the Branson Center of Entrepreneurship was founded by Sir Richard Branson. It's one of the only companies actually that has his name on it. Surprisingly, the Virgin Group is there, but so it was founded by him in 2011 here in Montego Bay. So we were in Mo Bay, and it was started to support entrepreneurship in the Caribbean and really to seed, ideas and growth, because here in the Caribbean, we do suffer from low unemployment and, low GDP. And we do see entrepreneurship as being that key thing that's going to help to allow economies to grow, particularly Caribbean economies. And so our mission is to support and create dynamic Caribbean entrepreneurs and economies. So we've been doing that since 2011, and we moved to Kingston, and we help entrepreneurs with three things. We help them with training so they can get their business acumen up, with coaching and mentorship, which is so important when you're an entrepreneur and you're running a business. You need to understand, you need someone to talk to, you need some mentorship, you need guidance. And thirdly, access to finance. Everyone knows that get your business going, you're going to need some capital, some money, or how to use that capital and money that you do have. So those are the three things that we support entrepreneurs with at the Branson Center.
Fantastic. Now, and just clarify for me, we're not just talking just specifically about Jamaica, right? We're talking about the Caribbean, because it's
Caribbean.
Now, do you say Caribbean or Caribbean? Let's get this clear here. Is it, which is it? Tell me so I can stay on track here. What is it?
Well, I say Caribbean, but
Caribbean. I know. I say Caribbean. I don't know where that is. It's the Pirates of something, right? That's what it's called. It's something like that. So, but you are focused on, obviously the whole region and not just specifically the island, correct?
Correct. So we do have entrepreneurs from all over the region, and more so when this pandemic hit, we actually moved our program from an in-person experience to a 100% online experience, because we needed to help entrepreneurs still who are being hit hard. And that allowed us to reach even more entrepreneurs in the region than we were able to in previous years. So, there's always a silver lining.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And that's good to know that, again, it's not so much that, and it would be great if it was still just focusing on your particular island, but the fact that you're embracing the idea that you guys are an economic region, and the idea that businesses actually prosper, if one island is doing well, there's a trickle effect that other people will want to explore, especially when it comes to tourism and so on. We'll jump into that in a little bit. I noticed on your, the lineup for the business itself, a lot of women representation in the leadership. Yeah, I noticed that. Now, was that by design, or is that just kind of happened?
It's so interesting, because I've been in the entrepreneurship or business enabler space here in Jamaica for a few years. And the women tend to be the leaders in this space. And I think it's just something that is just happening. It's not by design. We did have some guys who were at the Branson Center. I do now have a full female team, but something about the women want to support entrepreneurship. It's just happening, and I embrace it.
I'm the wrong guy to be commenting on this, because I love the feminine energy when it goes to leadership. If the world had more global leaders,
Yeah, absolutely.
Just saying, everybody. That's just a little side commentary. But let's talk about that. So when you talk to entrepreneurs and do that mentorship part and coaching and those kinds of things, where does that come in the conversation? The idea of diversity within the organization, or the idea that you're trying to get different perspectives, does that come into the conversation with them during coaching and so on?
It depends. So when entrepreneurs come into the program and they're going to, be paired with a coach or a number of mentors, etc., it depends on what they need and what their business needs, right? Mm-hmm. So that question of equality and, it's going to be very unique to each business and what they need. So that conversation is left for them and their coaches. But it is something that I personally and the Branson Center does want to see more of. As a matter of fact, when we started the center in 2011, we were helping startups. In 2018, we recognized that there were so many more business enablers, incubators coming into the space that we didn't need to be doing what we were doing before. So we actually switched and started helping scale up or growth stage entrepreneurs. And when we did that, we realized that we had less and less women in the program because less women were scaling their businesses. We had a lot more women starting, but a lot less scaling. And so for me, it became something very interesting. And I really wanted to tap into why is it that women are not making that leap from startup to scale up? So from that perspective, it's something that the Branson Center really wants to kind of understand more and see how we can support. And, when I started in the beginning of this year, I started having conversations with all of these, females, just understanding what's going on with you, what's happening in your business, what's happening with, your friends who have businesses. Why are we not doing this? So we took steps to kind of try to understand and see how we could fit things into our program to support more women. So yeah,
that's great. And reason why I mention that is it's starkly obvious on your website. But I like the idea that you brought up something that down the road maybe we'll do this. Hey, maybe we'll do this again. We'll talk about it. But the idea of startup to scale up. Yeah. I like that distinction. That's a super cool distinction. In a nutshell, what do you refer to when you are talking to someone saying, "Hey, you're not scaling right now, but you're up and running, but you're not scaling." Yeah. What's that conversation, the bridge between those two?
Yeah. So, when we have an entrepreneur who's starting up, who has an idea and they're like, I really want to see this happen, we go through stages. So, you can have an idea and you're in that ideation stage. And then you're moving into that validation stage where do people actually want to buy your product or your service? Do you have an audience for this? And this is when you're starting up and you're understanding the business model. You really are in search of a business model when you're a startup, right? And when you find that thing that you're like, wow, people really want this. My product is in demand. And now when you're recognizing that you have more demand than a product, you can start to scale, right? You can start to say, how can I start to make this product, even more efficient, or how can I be more efficient, or how can this be more cost effective? And so then you can start to scale your numbers, right? And we look at different things. So we're looking at like revenue, how much revenue are you making? How many years have you been in business? How big is your team? Do you need to scale? Do you need to, expand your team? So there are different ways that people need to scale and become more efficient. But when you're thinking about business, when you're starting up, you're thinking, can I find a business model that works? Can I validate this idea? And when you're scaling, it's how can I be more efficient and how can I have exponential growth?
Oh, I love that. That's a great distinction. Yeah. And like you said, that those are two different conversations in the mindset and the strategy. And we'll dig into that another time. That sounds that sounds really cool. That sounds really cool. Let's talk about entrepreneurship. On your website and so on, you talk about the numbers, and I think it's important to recognize the numbers, and I want to expand on it so people hear. And maybe these numbers have changed, but let me just kind of read a couple things that you've posted here. Basically, on average, each entrepreneur that's passed through our program has created 4 new jobs, supported 3 existing jobs, and has grown the revenue by 132%. Hey, that's all. That's fantastic. So those numbers speak for themselves, which is super important. I think one of the things I want to mention, because every time when we talk about business growth and so on, we usually talk about revenue and profitability and things like that. What I want to ask you is, with those numbers, in conjunction with those numbers and the work that you do with your entrepreneurs, what kind of positive impact has been on the social fabric of the communities? Not just the financial impact, but the impact on the quality of life and the feeling of community. How does that play out with the numbers that I just mentioned there?
Yeah, no, that's so important to us at the Branson Center. As a matter of fact, when we are looking for entrepreneurs to come into our program, they have to meet the 3 Ps, which is people, planet, and profit, right? Because everything comes back to that. So we want to ensure that what we're doing is going to be affecting people positively. And that's when we're looking at, how many jobs are you creating? How many jobs are you helping to, continue, or, the existing jobs that are out there, ensuring that people have livelihoods. And it's definitely been supporting people positively. How are you affecting the planet? Are you environmentally friendly? Are you creating businesses that are sustainable? We even launched a Blue Economy program 2 years ago, where we had a whole stream just dedicated to entrepreneurs who are doing good for the ocean. So anyone who is doing anything that supports ocean life, ocean conservation, etc., we call them Blue Economy entrepreneurs. That's super important. The impact is very important to us at the Branson Center.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and I think that falls in line with what, Virgin Oceanic, am I not mistaken?
Exactly. Yes.
Right, that falls in line with
Exactly.
the Branson brand and the Virgin brand, and that makes a lot of sense. But even if Richard wasn't involved with this, the ocean is literally the lifeblood of an island. I mean, it's certainly, it's hard to suggest that if we don't take care of our environment, our beaches, our the water systems and so on that are on an island, you could be in real trouble if you have entrepreneurs not thinking like that. It could be a big social problem.
Exactly. Absolutely. I mean, and as you said, we live on an island. We're here in the Caribbean. We're surrounded by water. And so we want to ensure that, one, we're aware of how we are impacting climate change. And this is something that hit home for the Virgin family, for Branson Center, when Hurricanes Irma and Maria hit over in the BVI. And it destroyed the homes and businesses of many of our entrepreneurs. Because we actually had a Branson Center in the BVI. And our entrepreneurs went from growing their businesses to zero, flat. Some of them lost their homes. And so it became even more important for us to understand that we have to play our role here, because here is where we live. We want to be climate smart. We want to ensure that we're supporting our oceans and we are keeping them healthy. And there's livelihood. People can earn money from the sea. It's right there with us. So we want to make sure that we're being responsible in that way.
I agree, and as we talked about, it needs to find its way into the conversations, mentorship. So that's what I was thinking. It's sitting inside all the time. That remember, we're not sitting on a larger continent, shall we say, where we're kind of protected by different things. We're pretty, you're like you said, you're pretty vulnerable to climate and storms and things like that. So entrepreneurialism is very keenly aware of that on an island versus somewhere else. So there's different strategies. So no, I appreciate that. Hey, I just want to throw up a quick, here in Chicago, it's snowing, just so you know. Look, our good friend Ode.
It's snowing north of Chicago.
So don't you feel good now? Don't we feel good? Don't we feel good in Kingston right now? We feel good in Kingston.
I know. We have to feel grateful. We've been having so much rain here. It's, we've just come out of our hurricane season, but we've had a lot of rain, unprecedented amounts of rain. And it's real, guys. It's real. And I think that's why, we were talking before the show started, that the Caribbean is known for sea, sand, and sun, and not necessarily for, entrepreneurship. And I think that's why it's so important for us to seed these entrepreneurial ideas. We have so much creative people coming from the Caribbean, and we can use that creativity and that genius to start businesses that are going to support our own people, support the globe. We're not just talking about a Caribbean, we're talking about people who can reach, everyone around the world, be a global business. I think that is going to be key for us here in the Caribbean. So
I love the idea that you're talking about being able to connect with people that, just because of travel. I'm going to talk about travel in a little bit. But right now we have to learn to diversify, and how do we bring our expertise. So if I was thinking I was on an island and then no one's coming to see me anymore, generally speaking, I need to figure out how to reach them. And so to your point of everything going online and be able to be creative and take our businesses online is so important. That's a big conversation. Let's talk about something that I know that's a big part of Richard Branson's concept of running businesses, and I know that it's trickled down into entrepreneurship. There is the idea of business as a force for good. Business as a force for good. And I'm just wondering, because again, the governments can only do so much, and local philanthropy can only do so much. I'm just wondering, in the center there, when you're talking with entrepreneurs and helping them build their philosophy, if you will, what's the conversations that go into that, talking about business as a force for good, where the conversation of where philanthropy and giving back is built into their model? Do you have those kinds of conversations, and how does that play out?
Yeah, so we do, and those are conversations we have from the get-go, because as I mentioned before, we have to have, people, planet, profit as a part of your criteria to get to the Branson Center. People don't pay to come to the Branson Center. We choose people who are a great fit. So it's really important. It's like people get scholarships almost to come and work with us. We have like 200 applicants a year, and 20 people get in.
Wow.
Right?
Okay. So this is really cool. I did not know that. That's why we do this. We have this conversation. So you don't pay just to go like a university or something. Is that people are saying, hey, I want to start a business. Here's my application. And you go through that process, and maybe the 90-10 rule, 10% of applicants find their way in. Okay, that's good to know.
Exactly.
That's good.
Yeah, so we're looking for that. And so we want people who are really passionate about what they do. They have a proven track record as business owners, but they're also looking at that people aspect, that philosophy of, how are you going to give back? What are you going to do to ensure that you pay it forward? Because we're a nonprofit, right?
Yeah.
We are a nonprofit and we are paying it forward. We're taking what we have, the resources that we've been given by, very kind donors and supporters. Virgin is our biggest donor. And we're using that to support entrepreneurs. And so we always drive it home. You must give back. We have to pay it forward, right? And so it definitely is a conversation that we talk about all the time. Just a community that we have within our cohorts of helping each other. It's a really great experience for them. And we definitely drive home the 3 Ps whenever they are, looking at their businesses or tweaking their mission and their vision, etc., to ensure that that's baked in.
Yeah, people, planet, profit. That's the 3 Ps we were referring to earlier. And you're right. Whether it's a service industry, or whether there's a product, something tangible to it, or a combination of both. Yeah, there's got to be some component in there that lends its way to the selection program or criteria.
The criteria.
Okay.
And yeah, and our entrepreneurs, oftentimes are graduates will come back and they'll have talks with the existing cohort. So we have that kind of ecosystem where entrepreneurs are supporting and, helping each other out. So I think it's a really great
that's important, isn't it? The full circle effect of having an entrepreneur come back and tell the story. It's kind of like the hero's journey, go out,
exactly.
Fight, come back and tell the story, and that helps somebody else. Speaking of, I'm really glad we clarified that about the idea that there's a selection process and so on. So that makes it even more. There's it's very competitive, and you have to bring your game, which is really good, because that's the best way for obviously entrepreneurs to survive, to have a good strong foundation and so on. The conversations that you're having with local entrepreneurs these days, I'm just curious, and the partners, the partners that support. You mentioned it earlier about capital. You need capital, obviously. So I'm thinking local banks and other financial institutions, maybe venture capital, these kinds of things. The conversations that you are having over the last little while, because of everything that's happening.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So everything has shifted.
Right. So that's what I'm just curious what the mood is in your conversations. Are they scared? Are they overwhelmed? Are they excited about opportunities? What's the combination of the general feeling right now out there?
Yeah. So when the pandemic hit us here in the Caribbean, it was around March. And we were like in the middle of an accelerator program with one of our cohorts. And we had to make the move quickly online, right? We had to shift quickly. Entrepreneurs had to be supported in a different way. And I'm going to be very honest with you. The conversations were very grim. We picked up the phone and we called our entrepreneurs. We're like, what's going on with you? A lot of them were losing businesses. All of them had to lay off some of their team members, etc. And so it was very rough. I think in the first 6 months, it's still rough for entrepreneurs. A few of them have been able to pivot, go into totally different, markets, look at different business lines, but there is hope now. That's a sense that we're getting from some of them, which is a lot better than it was in March in that first 6 months. So we're seeing a silver lining, but I'm not going to lie to you that it's better now. It's not, and that's the truth. And in terms of capital, everyone kind of contracted, right? Yeah, it wasn't a matter of let's help everybody. Everybody's kind of like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Let's sit still for a while. Everything sat still for a while. And so we at the Branson Center knew that we couldn't. And so we actually created a recovery, resilience, and growth program, which wasn't an accelerator program. So what we did was instead of taking new entrepreneurs, we went back to all of our older entrepreneurs who had graduated already. And we're like, do you need help? Let us help you to figure out how you're going to manage over these let's do some scenario planning. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. Let's look at your finances. Where can you cut back? Where can you save? What can you do to ensure that your business survives? So that's a mode that we went into, and that's the kind of conversations that we're having. And we're still,
I love, that is so, what you talk about mentorship and the ability to feel like you have a community. The thing about entrepreneurship, which I'm very aware of, because I work for myself as well. The idea, you feel very isolated and alone. Just actually most of the time. I mean, you really, really do. No matter how good your relationships are with your partners and institutions and so on, you feel very alone because you're wearing many hats. And then when something like this shows up, you feel extremely lost. And for you to be able to recognize that and go out and have those conversations, I bet that was a real lifeline more than just business.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was, I mean, some of the entrepreneurs are just like, oh my gosh, you're calling me, you're talking to me, and they just wanted to talk to someone because some of their situations were just like, who do I talk to? What do I do? And sometimes it was just the conversation. It was just letting them know that they could talk to each other. So, that was so important. And guys, it's still important. We're not over it. It's still important.
It's still important. There's something I won't I keep going back to this, and it seems to show up in almost every conversation I'm having, not just here, but just with everybody. There's something that I want to remind people that there's some thinking that January 1 rolls around in 2021 and everything's better.
Yes.
And so we need to kind of get that out of our head and realize we're in a period of time, and these conversations need to continue. The support needs to be there. The capital markets need to figure out ways to open up and let these entrepreneurs or help these entrepreneurs. And obviously those conversations that you're talking about go far beyond the financial part. It goes into the mental health and wellness. This is coming down the pipe, right?
Oh, I'm big into that.
Right?
The what?
You've seen those you've had those conversations.
Oh yeah. Peter, I'm totally into health and wellness. I'm actually a wellness coach as well, right? So that was just like something that was like, okay, this is my time to bring this out and help people, because that's what's important right now. Mental health, wellness, everybody taking care of themselves, and not just for your physical, but if you are running your business, if you're an entrepreneur, you're CEO of your business, you have to take care of yourself in order to make these hard decisions that you're faced with every single day, particularly now. So I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, that's a great, and that's a great piece of a skill to have to bring to. Because I know exactly what you're referring to. That if we think the word COVID or pandemic was the words of 2020, health and wellness and mind health and wellness and so on is going to be 2021 and moving forward. Especially entrepreneurs, because they're super proud. There's lots of pride. Don't want to seem like you're failing. You don't want to let your customers think you're failing. You don't want to let your friends and family think you're failing. There's a lot of them, right? There's a lot of emotional connection to being an entrepreneur. So it's good that you bring that as an angle. I think that's fantastic. Speaking of tough conversations and health and wellness when it comes to the mind and so on, you mentioned you have a couple children are sitting there over your shoulder in the picture. I'm just curious, just not so much as a person that, runs the center or has a team of people and you work with, not in that environment, at home. I'm just curious, what kind of conversations are you having with your children to keep them optimistic, to keep them positive about what's happening and what's going forward?
And for any parent who's listening out there, and, we have a lot, CEOs, entrepreneurs, everyone who's a parent, this is a hard time and no one is perfect. And you know what? It's been hard for my kids. My kids are 5 and 7. So they're at that age where they understand things, but they're also like, why can't we go? Why can't we see our friends? Why can't we go to school? So I've just taken a very honest policy with them and told them what's happening, let them understand the precautions that we have to take. But I've also had to try to keep normalcy as much as possible for them with some structure, which was hard in the beginning. I'm not going to lie. I had to work from home every day and having the kids there harassing you. And I use the word harassing, but
that's a kind word. Actually, that's a kind word.
Right. It was hard. So now I've moved them into, they have some structure. They have things that they do. I try to spend my husband and I try to spend more time with them doing some activities, but it's not an everyday thing. I work. So it's just trying to find that balance. I don't know if anyone has found that balance. But and staying connected with family and friends. We've been doing a lot of Zoom calls and so forth. But it has been, for me, the honest conversation. This is what's happening. This is why we have to stay protected. That's all we can do at this point, and is try to keep them occupied.
Yeah, occupy and like you said, it's just being open and honest, a little bit of transparency. You don't have to scare. Obviously, there's no ideas of
No.
scaring, but you're trying to comfort and remind them that this will pass and so on. But like you said, you're spending more time at home, so your style of how you do business has changed. Their regular routine has changed, and so
Yeah.
it can create a lot of stress that we're not even measuring right now. But in the near future, we will, and those conversations will show up. So
Yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing that with us. Let's talk about and because I've talked about this on this show and I'm passionate about it because travel and tourism because I started my business that way, Red TV in general, believe it or not, many years ago. I started with travel videos and I
Right.
traveled throughout the Caribbean. I've been through Jamaica. You know what? Believe it or not, when I was there, well, because it's not known as a destination for I've gone. I was in Ocho Rios and Montego Bay,
Ruby.
but yeah, places like that. But I never went to Kingston. So, but I've been through the Caribbean and so I love travel and I know how important it is for me for my just my education, who I am, the people you meet, the cultures, the food, all, music, everything. It just makes you a different person when you travel. I think the world becomes really nice and close when you travel.
Yeah.
So I know how big tourism is there. I know you've probably been asked 1,000 times this question, but I do need to touch on it because
Yeah.
travel and tourism has obviously impacted tremendously your economy, which means that the entrepreneurs there who rely on this foot traffic, if you will, is not there.
Yeah.
If the foot traffic is not there, the other more established businesses are not doing as well, which means that they're not even locally buying as much. So can you talk about that just a little bit? How hard has it been hit? And more importantly, or not just more importantly, but just as importantly, the mood. Is it going to change? Are people looking to diversify, and are they
Yeah.
thinking, what do we need to do for the future to make this better in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you're absolutely right. It's been hit hard. The tourism industry is it's one of our number one industries here in Jamaica in particular. And I can speak to Jamaica because that's what I'm most familiar with. But we have had entrepreneurs who are in the tourism industry and they've closed businesses. And that's the truth. They've closed businesses. We've had entrepreneurs, who rely on tourists coming here to deliver their service, and that just didn't happen. And it didn't happen quick enough. It didn't open up quick enough for them to survive. So those businesses have closed. There are some of the bigger ones, some of the bigger hotels, etc., that have been
Sure.
able to stay afloat.
Yeah.
Obviously their occupancy isn't where it used to be, but we're seeing signs of things getting better. So more hotels have opened up. They were closed for a long time. So we're seeing an injection, and then more that the governments work together and we're able to really have our protocols and policies to keep everyone safe, the better it's going to get. And, who knows what's going to happen next? The vaccine is on the way. Who knows how much, how much more open it's going to be, but it has impacted people. And so our entrepreneurs, we've encouraged our entrepreneurs to diversify. And as a matter of fact, we hosted our annual summit, which was our marquee event every year. It was an in-person thing. We went online. We did it completely online, and it was all about how to create a digital business, how to diversify, right? Because that's what's going to be important now. So it's not just about how do we survive now, but who knows what's going to happen in another 5 years, another 10 years. So we need to start thinking about, having business lines that are going to support us so that we're sustainable. And all of the trends are moving online. So digitizing is going to be so important for everyone. And I think the sky's the limit when we're talking about digital businesses. It's just a matter of innovating, taking something that we've seen that can be tweaked for our particular industry or business and making that work. But, the time to start is now, if you haven't already.
Absolutely. And I think that's just an important message for not just your part of the world, it's global. When people get used to what they're doing, getting used to being online, you need to be able to communicate with them online. If people are going to get used to, for example, maybe not traveling as much in the near future, in the long term, I think it might change. But like you said, it's not changing on January 1, 2021, everybody. There's a process here. So I love the idea that you are encouraging your local entrepreneurs and people to think outside of the box a little bit and try to diversify their thinking when it comes to how can I reach people? Because like you said, the sky's the limit online. I mean, there's 3.5 billion people people, online. You can reach literally half the world being online for sure, if not more. So,
Yeah.
no, those are great messages. Let me ask you this question. This is a very general one, but I think again, it just sends another message to, the people that you work with on a regular basis, your family, friends, and just, to the world in general. What's keeping you hopeful these days? What keeps you optimistic these days?
Whoa. There's, you know what? I am a spiritual woman, and I just believe that everything, this is a path. I believe we all chose to be here at this time to ride this wave. And I know that there's nothing that comes towards us that we can't deal with. And I'm very optimistic about the future. I was just talking to my team about this. I like endings and beginnings.
Yeah.
And because I'm very optimistic about the beginning, I'm still human, and I still, become very melancholy about the ending. But I just always love what's ahead. The unknown is scary, but I love what's ahead. My children obviously are, inspiration for me to keep going. But there are times where that's still rough too.
Yes.
But and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not chirpy all the time, because
No.
we're going through this, and people who we know are sick and are suffering.
Yes.
So I think the more negative energy that we put out there, and the more we get into that place of, why is this happening to us, is the more negative energy that we put out there. So I just keep trying to put more positive energy out there. Something good is going to come. And that's that's what keeps me going, knowing that,
I listen. I just love that message. I love the fact you're spiritual. Like, I like myself and my spouse, Renuka. Renuka's from Trinidad, by the way, just so you know.
Okay. Trini, you're Caribbean.
Little connection here to the Caribbean. The clothing is not just clothing. It goes deeper than the clothing.
Nice.
When we talk about that a lot, because we're students of that sort of thing as well. We read lots of books and watch documentaries and things about spirituality and so on. And it truly is, like you said, right now it is a battle, and you have to prepare yourself for a battle, meaning that you have to get your mind right, your mindset right. And it's not always easy. And I feel for people that don't even arm themselves with that kind of knowledge. Like you talk about your spirituality and mind, health, wellness, and a coach helping people through these. And if people don't exercise that, I feel for them, because I know I struggle, and I'm aware of when I'm not feeling good, I'm aware of it, and I think of tactics to how to get me out. For people that are struggling, I'm sure it's much different. And like you said, it's not always easy to have those conversations with younger, like your children and so on. It's hard to stay optimistic when it's like, gosh, we can't go out again today, or another friend's business has closed, right? Right. That kind of
Exactly. And I mean, those are the things that if we dwell on it, so if we dwell on every bad story that we hear every day, we're going to just spiral down into that dark place. And that's what I'm talking about, that energy, that's that dark place. But we have to try to, as you said, have tools and techniques that are going to help you to get you out of it. And it's going to be different for everyone. Me, I like to meditate. I like yoga. I practice Reiki. There are different things that I do that support me, but it's going to be different for someone else. So, I would say, and what's important, and I think you mentioned it a while ago, Peter, is looking for those techniques, finding what works for you, and just knowing that, put yourself in that space where it's going to pull you out of that darkness, so to speak, so that you can carry on. So that's what's going to be important.
Yeah. And like you said, the darkness shows up in this conversation of entrepreneurialism. And again, if people are suffering, again, it trickles down into their home. I mean, health and finance, those are the two things that people, and for entrepreneurs, that's both. If you work for yourself and you're unhealthy and you can't work, your business is gone. If the financial part of it is kind of in trouble, that causes a lot of physical stress and health. So it's so intertwined. It's so intertwined with each other. And those conversations are going to be more needed in the future. Let me jump here. I want to make sure that people can go check you out. So first of all, we always encourage people, go and see Lauri-Ann's LinkedIn profile. Check it out and find out more about her. And for people that are seeing this maybe in the Caribbean area and so on, or Caribbean area, reach out and find out if there's opportunities to connect for business ideas and so on. Because again, this will pass and things will be, and you're bringing it online anyway, which means that there's still lots of activity that way. Also go to, let's see, I think it's bransoncenter.co.
.co, yeah.
.co. What I'm
Yes.
going to do right now, I think I just want to do this. I'm going to bring this into the conversation here, just so that we can have a quick peek here, of the website and so on. And I love this. And so this is what it looks like, everybody. That looks like a jolly great. Now I know you're in there somewhere. I think you're down just below Richard. Are you? Are you hidden back
No,
there?
these are all of our entrepreneurs.
Oh, this is all the entrepreneurs. Okay,
Yes,
cool.
yes.
That's fantastic. But there's some of the information that you can get, everybody. I mean, talking about the impact and so on. I love the fact that you put up our entrepreneurs. So there's a directory, and
Yes.
people can go into that area. I'm just kind of hitting it there and seeing if the internet's going to be kind with me. And here we go. Just all kinds of different stories that you can find and see and you can learn from. So if you're an entrepreneur, maybe you can go in and find something that resonates with you, and then reach out to Lauri-Ann and her team and have those conversations. Great job on the website. I really enjoy going through this because I love the stories in there. It's always about the stories. The people. So I think that is phenomenal. And there's a lot of good stories in there, big smiling faces. I just, again, the creativity is just there, and we just need to plug into it and amplify it somehow. And thus what we're doing here today, talking about it, is being able to amplify that conversation. So
thank you.
That's fantastic. Now, okay, we've talked enough about business and stuff. We're not going to sneak away without fun. We got to have some fun.
Okay.
I know how the Branson brand works, the Virgin brand works. It's all about fun.
All about the fun. True business as usual.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. So I want to make sure we have some fun. And the thing when you get in these conversations, and that's why I like the fact that you mentioned about your Reiki and meditation and health and wellness, and you're into that. So that's not normally what you would talk about if you're talking, right? So we don't get to talk to people and learn about them. So I come up with something that I love doing. This is a little thing I call this or that.
All right.
And it's really simple. I'll ask you a couple of things and you just pick one of them, and it'll give us a little insight into the mind of Lauri-Ann and a little bit about her that we wouldn't normally know.
All right.
Through conversations like this. So really simple stuff. I mean, it's these are not brain teasers or anything, but it'll give me an idea a little bit about you, so that when we chat again, it'll be more fun conversations. Okay, here we go.
Ready.
So the fact you came to Canada, I love that. So how about this? Canadian beer or Caribbean rum?
Oh, Canadian beer.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I'm not a rum girl.
Okay.
I'm a wine girl or a beer girl.
Wine. Well,
wine or beer.
Wine or beer. Okay, there you go. I love it. But you like Canadian beer. I agree. How about this?
Beer.
How about Supergirl or Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. Motown music or hip hop kind of rap?
Motown.
Motown. All right. I like that. Okay. This is going to test your the local part. Jerk chicken or rundown?
Oh, rundown. Mackerel rundown.
Now for all the people that don't know, what's rundown? Tell everybody.
It's made of coconut milk. So it's mackerel or saltfish, anything that is cooked in a coconut sauce and tomatoes and all kind of spices, and we call it rundown.
Beautiful. Right, there you go. I knew you'd know that. How about this one? One trip with Virgin Galactic or visit every country on Earth.
I'll visit every country on Earth.
Yeah. Right? People. People. I agree with that. Okay, this is going to be interesting. Okay, so again in Jamaica, we're going to pick a day. You got to get the day to spend with somebody. Usain Bolt, a day with Usain Bolt, or a day with Ziggy Marley.
Ooh, Ziggy. I've met Usain before, so Ziggy.
I think I go with Ziggy anyway. See the guitar back behind me. I'm going with Ziggy. I just think I like Bolt. I think he's obviously a rock star, but
You're a
Ziggy
guy.
He's a
nice guy. Yeah, he's a really nice guy.
Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, we're going to test you here on Christmas Day. Let's talk about Christmas Day. A walk through the woods in the snow, like in Canada, or a walk on the beach in your shorts?
Oh, because it's Christmas, I'm going to walk through the snow because I'm just like a white Christmas kind of. I love Christmas.
Oh, you like that? Okay.
I love Christmas. I'm a Christmassy person.
Oh, fantastic. So in Canada, the times you spent in Canada walking through the snow, you love that stuff.
Let me tell you, just on Christmas Day. That's it. If it could only snow on Christmas Day, every other day, no, forget about it. Give me the beach.
That's us. That's what we're doing all the time. Just snow for Christmas. Just Christmas Eve.
Christmas.
And then just go away.
It.
Yeah,
exactly.
Totally relate to that. How about this one? How about $50 million today or guaranteed health until 100?
Oh, guaranteed health till 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Your mindset, it's a funny, Peter. Like the minute that you think that you're sick or someone is sick,
yeah.
nothing else matters.
That's
Nothing else matters.
that
Right?
is
I can
so
earn
true.
$50 million. I'm a smart lady. I am I have drive. But the minute that you think you're sick or someone is sick, you just go, oh my God, my world is crashing. So I will take health till 100 and I will be a happy lady.
Oh, great answer. And I
Yeah.
super agree with you. Like, you can have all the money in the world if you don't have your health. I mean, that's
You
much
can't
different.
enjoy it either. You won't enjoy the 50 million.
Absolutely. Okay, how about this one? This one's a interesting one. I really enjoyed asking this one. Hope or freedom?
Freedom. Freedom.
Freedom. Freedom.
Freedom. Yeah. It's like one of
Oh,
the things I know I came into this world. I don't know. Freedom is such a big thing for me. I came into this world all about freedom. I just think that there's just this, there's just, I don't know. I'm a free spirit. So freedom.
yeah. Freedom. I totally relate to that because I always, and I don't mean this in a negative way. There's no connotation to it, but I often tell my spouse, I go, I think I was imprisoned or a slave or something in my past life, because I am like that too. I just am so
Me too,
freedom
Peter.
means
Me
my
too.
time. I'm so sensitive with my time, and I don't like anyone having their thumb on me when it comes to time. I like my freedom.
Me too. I have that same feeling. I always say it. I think in another life, I was in jail or I was persecuted for something. I always say that. And there's this freedom thing. I know I came into this world. It was about freedom. And that's why I think I'm in entrepreneurship, because for me, entrepreneurship also helps you to, there's a freeness in being able to do what you love and do good. And, everyone doesn't. I'm not saying everyone in entrepreneurship does that, but for me, that's what entrepreneurship represented when I started getting that entrepreneurial bug. It was just like, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to take that leap. I'm going to jump and I'm going to be free. And I mean, it's hard. And don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Entrepreneurship is not.
No, it's not. It's not free.
It's not free.
No,
and it is a lot of work and it's a lot of accountability. And so that whole notion that people sell of, oh, become an entrepreneur and you'll never work a day in your life. Well, it takes work. I do believe it takes work, but I also don't believe in, burning the candle at two ends and that's what you have to do to be successful. I think there's a balance.
Yes.
I'm finding it and I want to help people find it too. But you understand.
I so relate to that freedom part, because I always think to myself, gosh, and I hate to say it out loud. I got to be transparent. My brain always says, God, Peter, you're so unemployable right now. And I'm like, because I'm so entrepreneurial, meaning if someone said, I need you here at, 8:00. Now it's different if it's your business. There's something magical about that. I don't know what it is, but the freedom to choose who you work with and how you spend your time, there's something magical about that. And like you said, don't mix those two things up, freedom and entrepreneur. Oh, what sane person would trade in a 40-hour week for a guaranteed salary to work 120 hours a week with no guarantee? Only entrepreneurs and stuff like that.
Exactly. But there's just a freeness of your mind. There's a peace of mind doing that. And when you have a drive to do something and build something for yourself or build something for a cause or a reason, it's different. Yeah, it's different.
Totally understand that. Okay, finish this. This is the last one here. Finish this sentence for me. I love my life because.
Oh, I love my life because I'm living it the way I want to.
Boom. See that behind you? Boom. That was the mic drop, everybody. That's down.
And we know we're done because my son just popped in. So
there he is. And who's this? This
is my son, Sebastian. Okay, you were supposed to be out there.
Look at that. Look at that face. That's an entrepreneur waiting to happen. How are you doing, buddy? Okay. Mom needs attention. Mom needs a hug. It's all good. We're almost finished. All
righty.
I super appreciate your time. I super appreciate you coming on here. If you can stick around after a little bit when I'm finised, we'll chat for a couple seconds. I wanted to show you something because I was hoping, I asked you if you had a picture with Richard. And I don't know if did I tell you that we didn't have a chance to talk yet or anything, but I've been to the island. I've been to Necker, and
you have been?
I've been to Necker, and my gosh, it was just such an amazing experience of spending time. As you know, you've met the guy before, so it was just an amazing time. But let me show you my happy place. This is a happy, and you'll relate to this. So I'm on Necker Island, and this is just one of the moments that my beautiful wife captured. That look at that.
Oh, wow. That is a happy place. That's a happy moment.
That is to me one of my happiest moments of spending time
Nice.
with a big brand, like you said,
Yeah,
Virgin, and he is exactly the way he is, in his public. Like, he's the same guy. And so I sat with him anyway. That night I asked him to sign my guitar, and he was kind. We just had a good laugh about it. So anyway.
Nice.
I wanted to share that with you because I love the brand. I love Branson's story, but I think it's interesting. Also, you mentioned, and I want to be clear about that, that you have other sponsors and people that help the center, correct? I mean, the Branson name is the primary one, but you have others as well. So for people to think that they can't help you and contribute and get involved, they can, right?
So, we do have other sponsors, we have other corporates and people who volunteer to be mentors, support our entrepreneurs, and, we're under the Virgin Unite brand. So, there are so many other programs that Virgin Unite has as well that, if you're looking to support, obviously we'd be very grateful. Because we have, climate going on where we have, entrepreneurs who are in the climate space and blue ocean and blue economy. So, and ocean conservation, there's so much, and we have other entrepreneurial programs that are happening. So there's so much opportunity for anyone who wants to support Virgin Unite and the Branson Center by way of that. It's
fantastic. There you go. I wanted to make sure we got that in there somehow, somewhere. So that's fantastic. I knew this was going to be a great conversation. I so appreciate finally meeting you.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the day to get on a plane to come down back to Jamaica. And,
that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, finally, when we get freed up, it's going to be a lot of fun.
It is going to be a lot of fun. So I hope, first of all, I'm just sending all the best to you and your family there for the future here. And stay healthy. That's the most important thing. Everything else will find their way. Maybe our next conversation should be about the mind, health, and wellness part of it.
Absolutely. And, I can't leave without saying that I do. So you should also check out my website too. I'm Lauri-Ann.Ainsworth.com. So it's my name without the dash, because I talk about that stuff there. I talk about entrepreneurship and wellness because I have this framework that I call the 3S: system, support, and self-care. And that's what you need to be a thriving CEO in your entrepreneurial ventures. And so I talk about a lot of that stuff there too. So you can check that out.
I think we have another reason to chat. Not just about beer, wine, and rum. We can talk about
exactly. For sure.
We can talk about other things. I super appreciate your time, and listen, all the best of luck. We're going to chat again for sure. I'll stick around. We'll chat after. Hey, I'm going to give you a little preview of why I love this shirt so much. It shows up in this little video clip of just a couple highlights from the island when I visited the island. I just want to show you that, and we'll chat after. Everybody out, thank you to you, Lauri-Ann. We'll chat, and we'll see you again. Everybody else out there, hey, be kind out there. Be kind out there, everybody. We'll see you next time.